Today I want to talk about the books that have most changed my life. During my time in college, I got really interested in learning more about high performers. I wanted to understand how all these entrepreneurs, activists, and artists managed to accomplish so many things. I thought to myself, well, there must be something that they know that I don't know. So that's how I got into non-fiction books. From that moment onwards, whenever someone I admired recommended a book, I would immediately add it to my reading list. This turned out to be one of the best decisions I could make, and after some time I started noticing myself thinking differently. My approach to life shifted and made me the person I am today. In this video, I'll share 6 books that had the greatest impact in my life. The first book of this list is The Productivity Project by Chris Bailey. This was one of the first books that I read on productivity, and it really shifted my perception of what productivity means. I used to think productivity was a matter of time management and planning when to do things. What this book taught me is that there are actually 3 constraints to being productive. One of them is, of course, time, and the other 2 are attention and energy. This book explains how to manage all 3 areas in order to achieve best performance. This book is the reason why I managed to do so many things while at uni, like being involved in extracurricular activities, while managing a business on the side, and maintaining good grades. This book gives lots of practical advice and exercises. When I first read it, I went through all the exercises, and still today I'll revisit some of them to make sure that I keep my productivity systems on check. What I really love about this book is that it was written through experimentation. Chris Bailey spent a whole year doing nothing but experimenting and trying out every single productivity technique that he could find. He then collected the most effective ones in this book. In this book, you'll find references of many famous productivity books, like Getting Things Done and Eat That Frog. So you're really getting the best of all those books in one. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Most people often neglect sleep in order to get things done. It's not uncommon to see students cramming until late the night before a test. And it makes sense, right? Why would I waste time sleeping when I could be doing something more productive with my time? I've fallen into this trap way too many times myself. Before reading this book, I really didn't know much about sleeping. The only thing I knew is that for some reason, once a day, I would just lay unconscious for 8 hours straight. And that's basically it. Well, if you think about it, it is kind of weird. We spend 1/3 of our lives sleeping, and we know very little about it. In this book, an expert explains the benefits of a good night's rest. Matthew Walker is the director of UC Berkeley Center for Human Sleep Science. He's an expert on sleep, and he condenses the most important learnings of a lifetime of research in an easy-to-read book. This book really teaches you how sleep works and why it's important to sleep. My favorite thing about this book is that it contains advice on how to fall asleep faster and sleep better in general. So it has really improved my sleep quality. Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. Now, this book was the one that pushed me to start my own blog in 2020. Before reading this book, I thought that self-promotion was an act of arrogance that only someone seeking attention would do. And I couldn't be more wrong. This book taught me that sharing the things you're passionate about online can potentially make a big impact in other people's lives. I also thought that I didn't have anything interesting to share. After all, I was just another student living a pretty normal life, right? To this, Austin Kleon says, amateurs know that contributing something is better than contributing nothing. They might lack formal training, but they are all lifelong learners, and they make a point of learning in the open so that others can learn from their failures and successes. After reading this book, I decided to start writing about technical things that I was learning in my class projects, and even managed to earn some money on the side. I wasn't earning much, but seeing that people were actually getting value from what I shared online really opened my eyes on the importance of sharing. Now, with this channel, I continue sharing what I learn online, and hopefully I'll be helping at least one person with my videos. If you haven't read this book, I really recommend you to do so. It's super short, you can read it in like an hour, and it contains lots of great advice. When by Daniel Pink. Time is one of the most important factors of modern society. But we don't know much about time in itself. In our day-to-day life, we make so many decisions on when to do things. When to start a business, when to wake up, when to exercise, when to eat. And yet, we make those decisions based on intuition, if not just randomly. This book talks about the science of perfect timing. Believe it or not, time plays a huge role in our lives. As an example, this book explains why there is a higher chance of passing a test if you do it in the morning. This made me realize that what we often attribute to good luck is actually an effect of doing something at the right time. We can't control some of the things that happen to us, but we can stack the deck on our favor. After reading this book, I started rearranging when things happen in my life in order to achieve the best results. Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. Before starting my YouTube journey, I thought that in order to share stuff online, I needed to have something original to say. This book taught me that nothing is original. The writer Jonathan Lethem has said that when people call something original, 9 out of 10 times they just don't know the references or the original sources involved. What a good artist understands is that nothing comes from nowhere. All creative work builds on what came before. Nothing is completely original. This realization made the task of building a YouTube channel way more approachable, because it meant that I didn't have to create something entirely new in order to start making videos. This was a huge weight off my shoulders. If we free ourselves from the burden of trying to be completely original, we can stop trying to create something out of nothing. Now, when I think about generating ideas, I think of it as creating a remix of one or more previous ideas. So this video isn't completely original. There are so many creators out there that have already made videos on their favorite books, but no one has done it from my perspective. So this video is a mix of an already existing concept, but from a different perspective. The last book of the list is Atomic Habits by James Clear. We tend to overestimate the importance of single actions and underestimate the power of small improvements repeated over a long period of time. This book showed me that by making small changes to our daily routines, we can achieve great results thanks to the compound effect. In his book, James Clear goes deep into the science of how habits work and will teach you exactly how to create good habits and break bad ones. After reading this book, I started noticing certain patterns in my everyday life, and some of them were good, but others not so good. So I decided to start tweaking my environment in order to turn those bad habits into good ones. So those were the books that have most impacted my life. I hope you found some inspiration for your next read and that they help you as much as they have helped me. Before closing this video, I would like to say thank you for all the support and the comments that I've been receiving from you lately. It really means the world to me. I answer to all of your comments and it really motivates me to keep making videos for you. Also, if you have any book recommendations, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I would love to read your suggestions. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more content on reading and self-improvement. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.